Hello, friends. Dr. Amy Shah here. I am so excited to present this episode of Save Yourself with Dr. Amy Shah with you because we have an amazing guest. If you don't know him, you will know him after this episode because his teachings, his philosophy, his business acumen is just a game changer. His name is David Ghiyam. He is the co-founder of MaryRuth Organics. He's also a spiritual leader of Kabbalah, which is a spiritual practice that I didn't know much about months ago before I met David, but I've really, really enjoyed and I've really gotten into it. So I hope you enjoy this episode. We talk about Kabbalah, we talk about health practices, how to grow a business, how to be the best, healthiest version of yourself, how to grow your hair, all of it. Can't wait for you to see it. Join now. Everyone here wants to live a long, healthy, happy life.
Yep.
And if you had to boil it down, what would it be?
It's so fascinating because I think Kabbalah is probably the most powerful medicine for anti-aging.
I'm so excited to be here with you, David. This is David Ghiyam, friends, and we're going to be talking about all the things. Everybody's interested in your journey with MaryRuth's.
Yeah.
Everyone's interested in Kabbalah. Well, maybe not everyone yet,
Yes.
but they will be because I was very new to it. When I met you was the first time when I met you online or on the phone. Was the first time that I actually started to listen to it a little bit. And it's very, very similar to some philosophies that I'm familiar with. And I thought that was something that we should definitely talk about because I think it's intertwined in your life. And but before that, I wanted to let you kind of introduce yourself and tell us what are you so passionate about in health and wellness and spirituality.
Well, thank you. I first, thank you for having me. And I've been following you for a while. And I know there's a lot of mutual friends that kind of brought us together. And so it kind of worked out really nice that we're here together today. I'll share with you just a little bit about the journey and why maybe people who are listening, they can find this inspirational, beneficial for them. Mm-hmm. I think I was around 15 years old, I was kind of introduced to a spiritual path called Cabala. And for people who don't know, because people have heard of Kabbalah, but they don't often know what it is or where it comes from.
They've heard of Madonna.
Yeah, exactly. That's like Madonna, I think, late 90s came out and basically shared that she's on the spiritual path. And then it kind of became mainstream as a result of what she said. But Kabbalah is just universal spiritual wisdom that existed for thousands of years, even before major religion. It started with Abraham. And so it's kind of like the spiritual foundation of all the major religions. And that's why I look at the demographic of my own audience on social, and it is people from every country in the world. In fact, the US is number one, but then number two is India. So my biggest followers are Hindu, Muslims, Jews are there, Christians, and a lot of atheists, even people who don't even believe in a spiritual path, find resonance with Kabbalah because Kabbalah explains kind of the spiritual laws of life, spiritual laws of relationships, spiritual laws of how to find our purpose, health and healing. And it's this whole idea that there is cause and effect. And there are spiritual laws in the same way that there are physical laws. Like gravity is a physical law that whether you believe in it or not, if you walk off your 5-story balcony, gravity is going to take over, even if you don't believe in it. So there are spiritual laws behind every part of life. And I think people are also most fascinated, especially around relationships. Yeah. So this was introduced to me when I was 15. I was very anti any kind of establishment or structure. But when I learned it, I said, wow, this is so powerful. I applied it in my life. I saw miracles. And I was 19 years old. I graduated from UCLA fairly early from college. And instead of going down the business degree path, I said, I'm going to devote my life fully to a nonprofit to just teach Kabbalah. So that's what I did until today. I went all around the world teaching Kabbalah, spreading the wisdom, giving seminars, and doing private coaching, and I did it all for charity. Then, when I was 26 years old, I met MaryRuth. We got married, and we started the brand, MaryRuth Organics, or MaryRuth's, these names are interchangeable. So what we learned is, and she was in the world of health and healing, I was on the spiritual side, and I saw that my whole life I was kind of investing this wisdom and helping other people be successful. Why couldn't we apply everything we learned in Kabbalah also to help grow the business? And I think around 10 years ago, we started the brand. We had no idea it would be where it is today.
Yeah.
we came up with, MaryRuth basically wanted to create liquid supplements because of its perceived higher absorption, scientifically shown as well. And everything out there was just capsules. And she kind of foresaw this capsule fatigue coming, which I think a lot of people, if you have to take like 10, 20 capsules a day, it's daunting. And there weren't any liquid options really out there. So she formulated a really high quality, premium liquid supplement. And, fast forward 10 years, it's probably the leading liquid brand in the nation.
What part of the Kabbalah teachings, like you say, helped you grow MaryRuth's? And I think a lot of our audience probably either knows about MaryRuth's from me or knows from just, being at Whole Foods or your local store or Amazon or TikTok even. What is it about Kabbalah that really helped you from the beginning, especially in the beginning?
Okay. So I would say it starts with this premise, the spiritual understanding that there's really only two forces in this world. There is what we call the creator, and some people call it God, some people call it universal energy, the universe, however you want to look at it. There is a universal force of energy that is positive that Kabbalah calls the light of the creator. And the other force in this world are the souls of humanity. And we actually used to all be one soul. When we came to this world, fragmented into these different bodies, with the sole purpose of reconnecting with this light. The reason why we cannot just be born with our soulmates, be born with our knowing our purpose, be born healthy, not experience death, is because we as souls chose to come to a world that is filled with illusions, filled with darkness, separate from all the fulfillment we're looking for, so that we can be co-creators in re-earning all of this energy. How do we do this? And I'm making it super simple. I mean, this is obviously a path that people study. I'm going to kind of simplify it for the audience. When a soul comes to this world, it comes with spiritual baggage that encompasses our fears, our negativity, our anger, all the stuff that we're not proud of, our soul comes to the world with. And what the soul does is the soul even chooses parents that are perfect for that soul to awaken the negativity it came to the soul, came into the world with. The soul even chooses all the relationships that it will have in its life that are perfect for it to awaken those negative traits that the soul came to the world with and then to transform. As we begin to transform our negativity, we create more affinity of form with this force. This force comes into our lives, the darkness disappears, and then miracles occur. So Kabbalah is essentially the wisdom of how to create affinity of form with the force called the light of the creator. And so that's like the overarching theme. So when you bring that into the business world, which is something that I talk about all the time, to be successful in any part of life is actually a spiritual concept more than it is spinning my wheels and trying to be clever in the physical world. So what I would tell people is, number one, the work that you do on yourself to heal, the work that you do on yourself to take responsibility for your negativity, the work you do on yourself not to be reactive, because every day we are tested to be either proactive or reactive. And the definition of reactive is any thought, word, or action that comes from fear or lack in order to connect to instant gratification. If I am reactive, I am opposite the force of the creator, and then I connect to darkness. And so we are tested every day to transform reactive behavior and not fall into it. And that's like one of the main things that we talk about in Kabbalah.
I think, and I want you to restate it here because many people might not have heard it or known it, but one of the things that really hit me hard the first time that I was going through all these teachings was, not holding on to the outcome so tightly. And I think I've learned that through different ways over the years. But I remember a time, there's something that happened in my practice, in my medical practice, and I was so anxious about that outcome. And I couldn't sleep. I was thinking about the different scenarios.
So you were anticipating something
that was something bad was going to happen, or that it could it could work out or whatever it is, but I kept seeing the bad scenarios and I kept holding on to it. And after it was all over, it was like a year-long thing. At the end of it, I thought to myself, God, I really went through this journey, this terrible journey, mostly in my head.
Yeah.
And from that time, I really try not to hold on to the outcome, good or bad. And I think you said that in one of the videos, and that's why I wanted you to restate it here. But the fact is that anything you want really badly, you have to imagine just being just as happy not getting it as getting it, and letting go of that outcome, letting go control. And then all of a sudden things start to happen.
Yes.
And it was something that I learned myself. And when I heard you say that, I was like, oh my God, that's exactly how I feel. And so you tapped into something that I had been struggling with for so many years. And so I wanted you to share that because I think it's so powerful.
You are sharing such a powerful concept. There's a course I teach called Kabbalah 1. I think this is class 9, session 9, where every session we talk about what is another quality of the creator that we can emulate. And as we do so, all of a sudden the path of miracles opens up, stress goes away, anxiety dissipates, and all the right people, all the solutions, all the healing starts to immediately come to you. So the concept you're talking about, there's many versions of it, but it starts with the idea of certainty, that every time you're about to go to your next level of receiving some new fulfillment. So for example, if your soulmate wants to be revealed, if the next level of your career wants to be revealed, let's say you're on social media and you have this big audience and you're growing and you're about to get to like that next level of being known and helping people. Let's say there's a business that wants to be revealed to you, or products that are going to be successful soon. Or maybe you're about to have a child and the soul wants to come down into your life. All of these new energies, in order for them to be revealed, the old vessel has to shatter and a new vessel, a new soul has to emerge to be able to contain this energy. If you do not tap into this new vessel, and I'll explain in a moment how that happens, then the energy would come, it would short circuit you, would literally burn you. It's the equivalent of, for example, having a 60-watt bulb, but you're asking for 1,000 watts of energy.
Yeah.
And this 1,000 watts is, again, all the fulfillment we're all looking for, but my vessel can only hold 60. If I bring this 1,000 watts in, it may seem like it's a good thing, but it's going to short circuit the bulb, or in our case, our capacity to receive this fulfillment. So what happens is, right before a great miracle, tests will come to each person in order to activate and bring out, spiritually detox, whatever negative qualities you've been holding on to for lifetimes. And Kabbalah teaches how to interact with those challenges so that you expand your vessel versus just running towards old patterns of instant gratification, which actually keep you in the old vessel. So what is the number one quality that we need to apply on a daily basis when we're going through a difficult time? It's certainty. Certainty means you're going through pain, you're going through darkness, you're going through confusion. Maybe something's going on with your kids and you don't know what to do. Maybe it's a health challenge. Maybe it's a behavioral issue. Maybe, they're suffering from some kind of sadness or depression. And it's very challenging for a parent. Maybe you're going through something financially. You can't make ends meet. Your business is struggling. You're going through something legal. There's a lawsuit. Or maybe in your friendship circle, people are speaking poorly about you. There's a toxic dynamic. There's so many different challenges. All of these are good signs. It means you're about to get a new soul. To embrace this process, you have to have certainty. So the mantra the Kabbalists say to use is, I have complete certainty beyond my logical mind that everything I'm going through is for the good. I cannot see what's happening. You can't see your next level, because if you could see it, it means you would already be there. That's what the next level is. It's that level you do not see or understand. So one of the concepts that you're bringing up here is for the audience to know is, no matter what you're going through, first tell yourself, this is actually very good, even though it seems very painful. And you keep telling yourself, this is good, even if you have to fake it. The second consciousness, the second mantra is, I have complete certainty that even though I do not see what's going to happen, I know this is good, and I know the Creator will show me. And then you go on with your life. So no matter, you still do whatever you're doing, but doing it with certainty, it's a infinitely higher vibration than doing it with doubts, anxiousness, and fear.
And so knowing that it will work out, or in the way it's supposed to work out. And I think that's something that somebody said, it always works out. Whether, you think it's going to work out or not, it will work out in the way that's best for you. And I think, when you talk about relationships, I think people really hold on to this too. Like I heard you say something, and this is so true. If you're waiting for a call, or you're waiting for a big meeting, or you're waiting for something to happen, be okay if it happens, and be just as okay if it doesn't happen. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so you're referring to a video I recently posted where if the Creator, again, it's all about emulating the Creator. If the Creator is a proactive force, if the Creator is the cause and not the effect, that really means that every time we are the effect of something, we're disconnecting from this universal force. And so we will have darkness and chaos. When you are waiting for someone to do something, when you are waiting for success to happen to you, when you are waiting for an apology, when you're waiting for your soulmate, when you're waiting for everyone to understand you, or whatever it is, this whole waiting game means that you're choosing to be the effect. So vibrationally, we become very distant from the Creator, and then your process takes much longer. I saw this post once about what is the difference between a professional and an amateur, especially when you're looking to hire leadership in your company. Yeah. The amateur will always, they're waiting for a solution to come. They're waiting for an idea to come. The professional is always the cause. It's not waiting for something to occur. The professional is always choosing how they want to feel, choosing what they want to experience, choosing where the company needs to go. A passive person who's kind of waiting vibrationally is not allowing the light of the Creator to shine in his or her life by virtue of this. Now, the only time this is not the case is, let's say you're upset, you're hurt, you're reactive. Your comfort zone there will be to fix it, to do something quickly. You're in pain, something's not working out, you want to make a bunch of phone calls, you want to get into fix-it mode, you want to soothe this painful feeling. This impulse is also reactive. So what do you do there? You pause. Literally, in Kabbalah 1, we say you pause. You say, what a pleasure that I have this opportunity to go through pain and not react. By not reacting, you actually become the cause. So the cause means, are you in control, or are you being controlled by something else? We see this a lot in dating.
Yeah.
People, you like someone you're dating, and you feel the energy all of a sudden. I had this person text me recently. She's like, oh my God, I really like this guy. Finally, it's going well, but I'm constantly thinking about him, and I'm constantly consumed. And when he doesn't respond back right away, I get insecure. And all of that means she's being the effect and not the cause. And as a result, he vibrationally is feeling that she is disconnected from the source. Now, he may not say it in those words, but he's feeling, you know what? I don't even want to call her anymore because something doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
The feeling he's feeling is that she is not transforming from being the effect to the cause. This is what Kabbalah is teaching.
So if someone is new to this world and they want to use this to become happier, live longer, go into your 80s, 90s, 100s. A lot of the people, listeners here, people who are watching, they want to live happily into their 80s, 90s, and 100s, say.
Yes.
And what is maybe the top 3 things that they should be implementing now? Say they haven't started anything. They haven't started this journey, or they've started their own journey but had to turn around, because I see a lot of people who could benefit from just what we've talked about.
Yep.
And I thought to myself, well, what if someone was just starting and they felt like they want, like everyone here wants to live a long, healthy, happy life.
Yep.
And if you had to boil it down, I don't know if you can, to the starting steps.
Yes.
What would it be?
It's so fascinating because I think Kabbalah is probably the most powerful medicine for anti-aging. And everything that you talk about so eloquently and you teach, like I in my own life and MaryRuth the same, were in the physical world, all the things that Medicine 3.0 is talking about, all the things about how to optimize the body and optimize our health and diet and exercise and everything from peptides to you name it, I'm 100% invested in, because spiritually, in order to access the full realm of energy, you have to, in the physical world, take care of yourself. You can't just ignore the physical world. I think a lot of people kind of focus on being so spiritual.
Right.
And then they forget that your body is the vessel for your soul. And if your body is sick or you're being lazy about taking care of the body, you cannot take care of the soul as well. Where the real power comes in is when you do both. And Kabbalah kind of encompasses everything that Joe Dispenza talks about or Tony Robbins talks about and Huberman talks about. It takes all of this wisdom from some of these great souls in our generation, kind of puts it together in a system. So what are the top 3 things that Kabbalah would say can help with anti-aging, essentially, from the spiritual side? Number 1, Kabbalah explains that time is an illusion, that the past and the future actually don't exist, and they exist in the present moment. Eckhart Tolle talked about this decades ago in his book, Power of Now. And it was groundbreaking, revolutionary, but the Kabbalists talked about this thousands of years ago. He put it in a format that was so digestible and it went viral for the whole world. He basically said the same thing, that the present moment is all that matters. So when a person learns Kabbalah, what they're learning more and more is to stop trying to be clever about planning your future, about anticipating what's going to happen next, about trying to, and smart people do this, unfortunately, is they're always trying to think 100 steps ahead about how to be well-known or be popular or to be wealthy or to find my soulmate. Like they're always planning and you're worrying all the time. In the past, people are always thinking about the mistakes they made. They're dwelling on guilt and fear and shame. I was talking to this one woman. She signed up for a coaching session with me a while back, and I think she was in her 70s. And for 50 years, she held on to this shame and guilt around having an abortion. And she shared this with me. And she was just young at the time, and some stuff happened where she just couldn't keep the child. And ever since then, she never had a child. So she's been carrying for 50 years this guilt and shame, and she beats herself up over it. And so she heard my Kabbalah 1, and she realized that, why that soul came into her life was really, it was a soul that came almost as a volunteer to kind of push her on this journey spiritually, to awaken feelings of guilt and shame so she can transform it, not so she can hold on to it. And she went through this whole process of finally realizing that it wasn't serving her husband, her friends, or even the world by holding on to guilt and shame. And a lot of people hold on to guilt and shame because they think they are being spiritual as a result. If I punish myself enough, it means I find favor in the eyes of the Creator or something. It couldn't be farther from the truth. The Creator is an infinite force of energy. The way the light in this room is shining and removing darkness, the Creator is the same. The Creator is not a person or has feelings or good and bad. Creator is just energy. Our job is to align with it. Feelings of guilt and shame vibrationally are on the lowest part of the spectrum. So first thing I would say is to remove time, space, and motion, which is the secret of anti-aging and not growing older and not becoming diseased, is to let go of any guilt or shame you have from the past. The only reason people are holding on to it is because they believe they have a limited belief system or a false belief system that it is actually making them more spiritual, that it is actually cleansing them, or they're paying their dues for something that they did. I had a person who once came to me and even confessed about having killed someone. This was decades ago, and it was part of a mafia thing, and he became spiritual. And he said, I don't think it was that he killed someone. He knew somebody who did something like this. And he had so much guilt and shame. I said, look, we're not here to judge. The bottom line is you holding on to this is holding your soul back. And you think you should be holding on to it because that's your reparation for whatever happened. Couldn't be farther from the truth. So anybody who's listening, whatever you're holding on to, know that the way to actually heal everyone and bring miracles to everyone's life, including your own, is to finally release it and be done with it. So that'll be the first thing I would say.
But, okay, maybe you're getting to the future one, because I think that seems doable. Okay. Not easy, but.
Not easy, but we're giving permission to everyone to be okay with letting it go.
Yeah. But the future one is really difficult because most of us are programmed, even in the mainstream media. You talk about, setting goals, manifesting your goals, or getting, working towards your future self. Yeah. And there's a lot of future talk.
Yes. Great question.
And so what about that?
So when I'm sitting with our executives and we're creating the budget for the year and we're talking about future goals, 1-year goal, 3-year goal, 5-year goal, this is very proactive. Yeah. It's very productive to set time to plan out your future. MaryRuth talks all the time about time blocking. She's a master time blocker. I think she's done like 100,000 hours, something crazy. Like I don't even know what the number is, but she sits the night before and she time blocks the entire day in 15-minute increments. She's the most productive person I've ever met as a result. And she talks about it all the time on her podcast. And so this is very proactive. So anybody who's listening, if you're planning for the future proactively, this is very good. Where it becomes negative and toxic and causes a person cortisol to shoot up, have stress, age, and disconnect their soul from the creator is when intrusive thoughts come unplanned to you and hijack your mind and make you think about the future. In this case, this is the negative side. There's a force in this world that we call the opponent or the negative side. It's like an energy intelligence this force was created to challenge us, to help us earn the light. It's an opponent. It has a good job, but its job is to constantly make us be reactive and connect to the worst side of ourselves. As you grow spiritually, so does this force. This force's job is to hijack your mind and make you, at the wrong time, in the wrong way, think about the future. And this is called anxiety. Anxiety is, I'm driving to go pick up my kids from school, and then I start thinking the 8 things I haven't done, and the meeting tomorrow that I'm unprepared for, or my to-do list which is backed up, or my parent is my mom or dad is in the hospital, and all of a sudden you start thinking about all these things. This is the negative side coming in, sucking energy from the present and putting it into the future. So the second tip here would be, how many times in a day, when those thoughts come in, can you say, okay, no problem, I accept these thoughts, but I'm going right back to the present moment and asking myself, what can I do right now to be like the creator? Because whatever I do now will bring light and energy to the future. Will bring light and energy to your children. Will bring light and energy to your business. Will bring light and energy to your schedule or to your to-do list. Worrying about it actually brings more negativity to it. So this would be the second thing I would say.
So focus on the now.
Focusing on the now.
And not worrying about the future, which is really, really difficult to do, especially when you have kids, running a business, doing all this. There's so many times when all those things that you just said happen all at once. And it's usually like right before bed. Correct. And then all you are doing is like ruminating about all the things you need to do that you haven't done, that you need to do. And it's really difficult to get out of that cycle of thought.
100%. You'll probably know this better than me, but there are, even the way that the body works, there are some people who they're ruminating and intrusive thoughts come in the morning. A lot of people, it happens more in the evening, kind of like when those cortisol levels drop and your defenses are going down, all of a sudden those negative thoughts are coming in.
Yeah.
It's important to identify what kind of person you are and then spiritually strengthen yourself for when that happens. And it's an opportunity, because when the negative thoughts come, it is an opportunity to transform the negativity to light. We actually need negative thoughts because the negative thoughts become the vessel for the miracles. If a person had no challenges, no negative thoughts, they actually aren't building the new vessel for the new life that wants to come in. So the more negative thoughts you have, the more fears you have, the more challenges you have, it is a sign that you have a great soul and that this soul is meant to manifest great things. And so you need the opportunities. And that's what those negative thoughts actually are. So I would actually be flattered if I woke up with a lot of pressure and drama and negative thoughts coming in. I actually would be like, wow, today is the day that great light wants to be revealed. So I embrace this.
And that's what you do in that moment when you get those negative thoughts to say, I'm so happy that these are here and that I need to focus on the now. Is that kind of the self-talk that you do? What is the
so
instructional?
It's a great question. And I think the mantra that I share in my classes is when those thoughts come, don't try to push them away. Because if you deny the process, it's also kind of suppressing and you're going to have to repeat it later. So I let it in fully. I accept it. I say, wow, this is all from the creator, even the negative. And I embrace it. And I tell myself, I'm going to pause reacting to it. I'm going to receive it. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to experience it. But I'm not going to try to soothe it. I'm not going to try to fix it. I'm not going to check out. I'm not going to medicate. I'm not going to run to my old pattern of instant gratification. I'm going to really sit in it. And as I'm sitting in it, the mantra I'm saying is, what a pleasure. What a pleasure that I have this opportunity to now transform darkness to light, which is the reason my soul came to this world. It's such a pleasure to finally live my purpose. Our purpose isn't, running a vitamin business or running a medical practice, and even changing people's lives is really not our purpose. It's the vehicle by which we can become more like the creator, because the more people you help, you're emulating the creator. But our true purpose is to transform the qualities and the vibrations that are not of the creator. That's our true purpose. So the fact that you get to see the part of you that is not there, that is not good, this is an opportunity. And the analogy I give is you go to the dentist and he finds the cavity and he starts poking at it and he starts talking to you about it and say, we need to do something about it. You don't tell the dentist, hey, look, I didn't come here for you to just point out my bad. Can you focus on the 30 other good teeth I have? The dentist's job is to find and pinpoint where the weakness is so that it can be remedied. And you actually get excited when the dentist finds something because you're like, wait a minute. The fact that he proactively found a cavity before it became a root canal or before it became something worse is actually very positive. And this is the perspective I would want people to have.
That's so fascinating. You said something in there that really caught my ear. You said something like, don't drink it or medicate it away.
Yeah.
And so what is the thoughts, alcohol, for example, in this process?
Yeah, it's a great question. Alcohol, drugs, prescription or recreational, what do they do? I ask a lot of people, if a person did cocaine, I'm not advocating do cocaine, I'm just saying, if a person did cocaine, I ask this to my classes all the time. I'm like, are you connecting to darkness or light? So everybody says darkness. And I said, no. When a person does any kind of drug, the reason why they love doing drugs is because they're drawing a direct source of the light of the creator. Cocaine is just drawing the creator's energy. Marijuana is drawing the creator's energy. Alcohol is drawing the creator's energy. Hugging your child is drawing the creator's energy. Anything that gives you dopamine is really just the drawing of light. Now, is that good or bad? Kabbalah doesn't go into good and bad, sin and reward, punishment. Like that's religious ideology. We're talking about energy. If you draw energy that your vessel cannot handle, you shatter the vessel. If I pour 32 ounces of water in a 16-ounce glass, we're going to have chaos. Is the water good or bad? Water's great, but if the vessel's not going to hold it, we have chaos. We have a spill. You're going to get wet. So when a person drinks in order to run away from something, they're drawing the light of the creator into a vessel that is not ready. And so what happens is it shatters the vessel. It shrinks the vessel. And what happens is that energy that you got from the drinking then leaves the soul because it was received reactively. So anything you use to just numb eventually has to leave. Anything that you depend on to fill a void, that energy eventually has to leave, leaving you with a greater void. So if a person drinks because they're trying to be social, they could either drink or not drink, they'd be just as happy, then as far as I'm concerned, that's fine. Anything you do, even exercising, even if you do it to fill a void and you're running away, eventually that energy will leave you and you'll be left with a greater void. And I think that goes to the last thing that you said, which is anything that you're going to do, if you find that you depend on it for your happiness, you have to know that you're bringing death to it. It's going to leave you at some point. You have to ask yourself, if I had it or I didn't have it, would I still love myself? Would I still feel as good? None of us are perfect, and none of us are fully there yet. But if we can do the exercise in everything, even in our children, to say, like, if my child didn't like me or talk to me and left me, like, it would be very painful. But can I get to that place where I love him or her unconditionally? Or my career, if all the money left today, if it happened to me, my Instagram got shut down one day. And I said, and I felt this, I worked so hard. I'm like, what happened? I was hacked and all of a sudden I lost everything. And I realized, wait, this is a test. I even was relying on my social media for happiness. Yeah, because you're helping other people, whatever the excuse is. Yeah. Can you imagine today if, like, all of a sudden you lost your entire social platform?
Yeah. And it's the same thing. Like, I think you have to stay, that philosophy is so useful. Even when you said, if you're waiting for people in relationships, for people waiting for that call or trying to get that business deal, or someone who's trying to get to the next level, like, it's very, very easy to attach yourself to that outcome or that person or that thing to make you happy. Like, that's what's going to make me happy. And to take yourself away from that helps so much, because I found in my life, as soon as I say, like you said, if it happens, great. And if it doesn't happen, also great. Then things start to happen. Yeah.
That's when it happens.
And it's so useful, I think, for everyone who's listening to say, wow, all these things I want for my body, for my mind, for my relationships, for my kids. And if I just say to myself, like, if that happens, if they love me, or if, I get to that next level, great. And if I don't, also great. I think that then all of a sudden the doors start to open. So do you have a third lesson, or, because I want to ask you something about MaryRuth's and then,
You actually, there's so many, but I want the third lesson to be exactly what you just said. You just took this secret and you put it in such a powerful frame. And I think that should be the third secret here of anti-aging, which is, if something is being delayed in your life and is not happening at the speed you want it to, and you're scratching your head thinking, well, when is this going to manifest in my life? It probably means you haven't reached that place of surrender where you're as happy without it as you would be with it. And to achieve, the faster you can achieve that consciousness is the faster it will manifest.
I love that. I think that is the most powerful piece, at least that I've gotten in the last, couple of weeks or couple of years really, but in the couple of weeks of watching some of your videos, is really being very, very intentional about letting go of the outcome. I almost think of it as, and tell me there's probably a different way to say it in your world. But when I want something as a goal, I want it, I'm going to work towards it.
Beautiful.
But I'm also going to release
Beautiful.
Any kind of expectation, whether it happens or not.
Beautiful. So you said something also that's key, because a lot of times when people let go and surrender, they also surrender the working for it.
Yeah, the effort. Yeah,
you can't surrender the effort. You have to actually quadruple down on the effort, which then makes you more attached to it, the outcome. And then you have to have the strength and consciousness to let go of the outcome. And that dance has to happen every day.
Yes.
So the more you invest, you become more attached, but then you have to let go and then keep investing and then let go. And then you become a channel and then everything flows.
And that's the work, right?
That's the work.
So before, I want to pivot and talk a lot about MaryRuth, because I'm really, really impressed by the work that you do to make it stand out.
Yeah.
But what part of, MaryRuth's for you in your personal journey, you as a co-founder with MaryRuth, what was a key Kabbalah teaching? Maybe it was this one that we just talked about, or something else that you have to work on every day in your business as it grows to the next level.
Well, first I'll say, from the inception of this brand, there was only 3 people involved. It was me, it was MaryRuth, and her mom, Colleen. And one of the things that I'll say is, if I didn't have either one of them, there wouldn't be a brand. And I think one of the things we realize is each one of us has qualities that are our strengths. And we decided on day one, here's what each one of us will focus on.
Okay.
We created boundaries around that. And there was incredible harmony between the three of us. What MaryRuth brings to the table is something I could never even imagine doing. And I think like her superpower is she has the power to move everything forward. She thinks on a level that is bigger than any person I've ever met. And when our brand was tiny, she already had the vision of where it was going to be. She already talked about the people who would be involved. I remember, Gary Vaynerchuk is on our board, and he, 10 years ago, like when the brand started, she was listening to his videos. We lived in a 500 square foot apartment. We were in debt. We were selling like maybe 100 bottles a day. It was really difficult time. And she's like, one day Gary was going to partner with us, and he's going to be part of our company. I'm like, I look at her, I'm like, what are you talking? Like, she sees stuff. She sees these visions. And I said, all right, fast forward. This is an incredible story. Fast forward, I think it was a couple of years ago. As our company grew, Gary has one of the biggest media companies in the world. And Gary reached out, his team reached out and said, we would love to do your marketing. Now, what we're known for is doing all our marketing in-house. Like, we believe that truly, authentically, you got to do things in-house if you wanted to convey the brand. So, but his marketing team said, can we do it for you? And we kind of politely said, no, we're okay. And then Gary himself reached out and sent a video to MaryRuth and said, I would love, I want to personally ask, I would love to work with you on the brand. I really believe in the brand. I love the brand. MaryRuth wrote a video back saying, thank you, but we don't need the marketing help, but we would love for you personally to be part of our mission and our brand. Because we know your values align with ours. He's like, well, I'm flying out, let's have breakfast. And then manifested, and then all of a sudden we have this partnership. We did a product together, and and now he's been advising us and consulting us. And it's incredible how that happened, but she's a manifester. Oh, so that's her superpower. Colleen's superpower is she's probably the most organized, diligent person I know. And that allows MaryRuth and I to kind of think on a really big level, and then Colleen grounds the energy and helps manifest it. My strength is around growth, marketing, and trying to find and networking. So I love connecting with people the same way I'm connecting with you. I love connecting with people, learning what their strengths are, I'm a student. I want to learn from as many people as possible. And then I try to bring that wisdom back to the brand and be like, well, how can we just make things better and better and better?
Tell me how you differentiated MaryRuth, or the three of you differentiated MaryRuth from what's already out there.
Okay, so I'll share, for a lot of people who don't know, we have about 220 products that span from every age group and function that you may look for. And we're the brand for everyone. We're mainly a liquid vitamin brand, but we're number one in liquids in the nation. We're probably in the top 3 in gummies, better for you gummies. And we're number one infant, toddler, and children's brand. So we're probably most trusted by parents all around the nation. Primarily because we're vegan, we're non-GMO, we're gluten-free, and we're organic whenever possible. And we're third-party certified to be clean label, which I think is probably the biggest, and we were talking about it. We're the only brand in the world that tests every single one of our products for 200 toxins, pesticides, plastics, and anything that scares mom and dad, we test for it. And we test for it from a third party. We're certified, and we do it and we retest every year.
I mean, this is real. I think people think, this is fear-mongering or whatever. There are people on the social media that are fear-mongering around chemicals and additives that are natural to foods. However, heavy metal poisoning is real, and it happens in the supplement industry far too commonly. There's lead and cadmium and pesticides in almost everything that we buy. And so I think that having your product certified is huge, to be honest, because there is no real governing body for supplements and food products. And I think
most people don't know that.
Yeah, most people don't realize that. They think that if it says something on the label, that's real. Yes. And there's really no oversight. You could be completely lying about what you have in there.
100%. And we use the MaryRuth brand for our own family, obviously, but we don't make every type of supplement. So I use other brands. Yeah. We have a lot of brands here, and MaryRuth talks about these brands because we like to work together with the other supplement brands. And one thing I've learned is that once a brand reaches a certain size, there's so much scrutiny on them that is when, and most likely only when, they put in the proper processes to make sure that the supplements are of the highest quality. Like we test our ingredients before they come in. We retest again after they're made. And we retest again for heavy metals and there's so much testing, which costs an insane amount of money when you actually look at it. When I learned about it, but no one's forcing you to do those testings. So if you took maybe the top 100 supplements on Amazon and you tested all of them, you would see that the big brands probably pass 9 out of 10 times. Most small brands would not pass, not because there's anything nefarious going on. Mm-hmm. They just don't have the systems and protocols in place to guarantee that everything is what it is. And that's just what the nature of a small brand is. I remember in the first year we had that same experience. We had all these good intentions, but we didn't have the infrastructure to test for everything. Yeah. And every year as we grow, MaryRuth is like, what is important to families? Like we have 4 young children. 2 of our children have special needs. So she's hyper aware of like, okay, what's the heavy metal content? What is the nutrition that's going into them? And so we create products for our children, and then we try to share them with the world. That's kind of our philosophy and our thesis.
Yeah, and I learned, you hear a lot about pesticides, and you always think, oh, they're bad. Yeah, pesticides are bad. But what I realize is that the microbiome that we so talk about, that it's connected to our brain, the way your gut microbiome functions is basically the way your brain functions.
Yes.
And when you are eating a lot of pesticides, you are killing the gut bacteria, just like you kill the bacteria on the plants. And that's how they become useful in farming. But what we're realizing is that a lot of these pesticides seem to target bacteria that actually make dopamine and make serotonin. And so you think about this huge epidemic of depression and anxiety that's happening in our world. And not to say that pesticides are the only cause, but this is one of the big causes of depression and anxiety is our poor gut health.
Wow.
And it's so sad because I have a teen, I have a preteen, but actually both of them are teens now. And the rates of depression and anxiety, especially in girls, it's never been seen before. And you look at what these kids are eating, and everybody talks about social media.
I was about to say, everyone kind of thinks like, oh, it must be a social media, but you're bringing another part that I didn't even think about, which is the diet and what's in the food is causing the gut issues, which is then affecting depression.
Exactly. I mean, if you think about kids, most adults in the modern world eat about 65% processed foods, which processed foods tend to have higher levels of pesticides. Kids in the teenage realm and the preteen realm are in the 75 to 80% ultra processed foods. So they're literally eating, the Twix and the Cheez-Its and the Doritos as their main source of food 75% of the time.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is, and part of it could be because they're so young. I remember now if I put something in my body, I feel it right away.
Yeah.
But maybe when you're in your youth, like you could eat 5 Twix and you won't feel it right away.
You won't feel it. And you also, it's socially acceptable. Yes. Frappuccinos, for example, at Starbucks, all these drinks that have 50 to 80 grams of sugar per drink. That's like the added sugar that you should have in a day in one drink. And it's just normal it's like normal girl culture. You'll see when your kids are teenagers, they'll all go to Starbucks together, when they're getting together, and they'll go to a Chick-fil-A, or they'll go to all these places because it's part of their growing up culture. And it's a dopamine hit. Wow. And what we talked about with Kabbalah is the same thing with food. You get a dopamine hit from these foods a lot stronger than if you eat an apple or orange. And so, of course, if you're a kid, why would you choose that orange that requires peeling and like all the slow dopamine boost when you could have something that instantly makes you feel better, makes you feel more alive?
Wow.
And so that pesticide thing has become such a big topic in trying to figure out like, how do we get these foods rid of pesticides, even produce. Obviously we know ultra processed foods have it, but even foods that we eat that look fresh are full of pesticides. And even if they're organic, they use organic pesticides. So it's not like we can really get away from it completely. But there are things like, for example, washing them very well for 1 minute with rubbing can help, and taking the peels off of certain fruits.
Even organic foods, you're saying?
Yes.
Because I realize that too. Like we obviously eat organic, and I'm like, oh, sometimes I just take it. I'm like, I don't need to wash this. But we should be washing organic foods as well.
Yeah, you have to, because if you think about it, they can use pesticides and herbicides. It just has to be natural based. Like,
is that right?
Yeah, so you can be ingesting things that are killing your gut bacteria.
But it's more natural, but still it's affecting your gut.
Yeah, it's made. Yeah, it's still a antibiotic really for your gut. So we're in this world that we're trying to build now that we know, okay, to be happy, to be healthy, to look young, to feel young, to do all these things, to have even spiritual capacity, you have to build up that gut microbiome, because it has direct communication with your brain. To think clearly, to think in a way that serves you, you have to fix that. And in our world, it's actually really difficult, because we're living in a world where it's very, we went through a pandemic where we wanted to kill every bug, and for good reason. There was all these viruses around, but you were also killing your gut bacteria by using these antibiotic cleansers and these cleaning products and taking antibiotics for any which reason. And so I think really trying to rebuild that gut, especially for our kids, is something that we should be actively working on all the time. So things that rebuild the gut microbiome are very obvious in some ways. Playing outdoors, nature, for whatever reason, even if you're not rolling in dirt, you just end up getting a lot more bacteria into your body. And then spending time with other humans, other animals, like not being isolated, is another good way. And then
spending time with other humans is helping build your gut biome.
Yeah. Okay. So crazy stat. Your gut biome, your gut microbiome right now is more closely related to the people you spend the most time with.
Wow.
Than even if you had an identical twin. Are your kids identical? The
no,
twins?
No,
okay.
They're not.
So they did identical twin studies, and they show that after being apart, the ones that don't live together, their gut microbiomes were completely different.
Wow.
And they looked exactly like the people they spent the most time with. And so that saying about you're the product of the people you spend the most time with? That's so true. And it has to be in person for this gut bacterial transfer, right? So you can't, there's some, you can do FaceTime with your mom, but the people you spend the most physical contact with is, your spouse, your children, are the people that are going to share the most gut bacteria with.
And is that kind of transfer that's happening, or is it because you're eating the same foods?
It's both. It's the transfer that's happening unconsciously.
So there is a transfer. There's an energetic transfer that's happening that we don't see.
Yes. And
because Kabbalah says the same thing. So it's very fascinating that modern science is
I was going to say that. It's very similar to the saying of you want to be like someone. Yeah. Spend time with them, volunteer to be with them, or eat like them, share food with them. It is as physical as sharing food, but it's also just being in their presence, because you share the bacteria in their presence. Wow. There was a fascinating study about pacifiers. So some moms will lick their baby's pacifier. They're out and about to clean it off and give it back to the baby. And they checked women's habits, moms' habits. And there was a whole group, I guess, in a European country, I think it was Belgium, where it's not that uncommon to do that when you're out and about. And they found that the moms who licked their babies' pacifiers, their babies had a stronger and better gut microbiome than those who didn't. And same thing with hand washing the dishes, or in your home, or doing hands-on work in the garden, or being together. It doesn't even have to be as visual as sharing, food or spoon or pacifier with your family. It's really about spending time with them. There's a company out there that's selling the gut microbiome, the stool.
I heard about this. It's like a supplement.
Of elite athletes.
Wow.
Because you can get
it's like athletic, a postbiotic that you take.
And you can get the athletic prowess, the motivation, the drive, because it's all connected to your gut. So it's really crazy. That's why I think that when you're putting things in your body, we have to be thinking, not to hyper focus on every single thing you're putting into your body, but especially with supplements. Yeah. Is this actually helping me, or is this hurting me in some way? A lot of people are taking supplements that either counteract each other, or things with all these additives that are killing their gut microbiome. I actually didn't take a supplement for my entire life until maybe about until I was like 40. I didn't even take any supplements because in my training, I felt like I was so distrusting of like the supplement world because
the medical community is still distrusting of the supplement world.
Totally. Huh? Wow. The medical community hates the supplement world, not just because it's opposing.
But we have clinical trials now. I mean, we're running clinicals that are showing double-blind placebo studies that are showing.
But I think it's changing now. I think before, if you think about it, even my nutrition conferences, I was a nutritionist before I became a physician, and they were funded by all the big pharmas and big food companies trying to get you to understand that, hey, yes, it's good. Apples are good for you, but look, our product has been studied in huge populations. And, to do these double-blind, crossover, 100,000 people trials, you really do need money.
Correct.
Time and investment from pharma. And so the philosophy at that time was always like, well, you need to do the things with the biggest trials and the most robust medical science. It's changing a little bit now because there are companies that are taking food and saying, hey, look at this. This diet is actually better than this medication or whatever. But so it's changing. But that's why it's really important to have clinical trials. Tell us a little bit about the clinical trials that you do.
Thank you that's a good segue. I mean, the brand, every year, our goal is to reinvest profits back into how do we improve the quality, the safety, the education, or to give back to our community. So one of the things that we do, actually most people don't know, is if you can't afford our vitamins, we have a program called the We Care Support Program. And it's basically financial assistance to any family around the world who needs it. And we have already 10,000 families since we started who basically get whatever they need. If you have a large family or you have a low income family, if special needs, we never decline you. And so we help reinvest profits that way. But another thing that we realized, besides clean label and testing for the pesticides and heavy metals, is this year we're really focused on clinical trials because we want to even show the medical community how efficacious our products are, because we have millions of customers who are writing to us saying, this has changed my life. This is making me happier. This is putting me in a better mood. This is giving me more energy. And it's not that they weren't taking supplements before, but there's something about the liquid formulation, the methylated vitamins that we use, the absence of pesticides, and this is brand new for me that you even shared it. So the absence of pesticides in our product is helping with the gut biome. This is what's creating a good mood for people. So we saw all these anecdotal miracles everyone is having, but we also knew to be compliant with sharing this with the world, especially around what the FTC is looking for and what the medical community is looking for, is we got to run trials on them. So we are now in the process of running up to 20 gold standard double-blind placebo studies on our top products. And one of the first products that have come out with a clinically studied ingredient is our hair growth product, which I know that you're using and you're talking about. But we looked at what products were out on the market. I think a lot of great brands who have done clinicals for hair growth. People listening know what those brands are, but mainly they're in capsule or tablet format. And what we saw is, well, how can we create a product that serves both as a hair growth product, but also a multivitamin? So we take that additional cost out. How do we run more clinical trials on these ingredients? So our flagship product is a multivitamin, a liquid multivitamin that is vegan, non-GMO, and tested for 200 toxins and pesticides. And it has a clinically studied ingredient for hair growth within 3 weeks, for improving fine lines and wrinkles, as well as another ingredient that's shown to clinically help with weight management and helping metabolism as well. So we created this like holy grail of a supplement that the whole family could take. Well, kids can't. It's not technically marketed to kids, so it's technically for adults 18 over. But it's the holy grail of a product that everyone's looking for both health and wellness, overall health and wellness, as well as the internal beauty from within qualities that everyone's kind of looking for. And we put the science behind it. And so this product has quickly become our number one selling item. And all the retailers, all the consumers are kind of like coming to it because it's solving so many problems for people in a big way. And it's in a liquid format, which is just better absorption. And we have it in a liposomal format as well. And it's doing phenomenally well, which we're so appreciative of.
What is when you said a lot of people come to you saying that they feel happier, more energy, is that from that product?
So there's two products that people feel incredible from.
Yeah.
One is our morning multivitamin, the raspberry flavored morning multivitamin. We also have a fruit punch and a strawberry version. These three products were our very first products, and it's all over social media. People are talking about them. It serves as a full multi. It's moving the needle on blood work for people. And people are instantly feeling great energy, better mood. They're sleeping better. And they're also seeing a lot of beauty benefits, hair, skin, nail. That was our staple product. Then we decided to add science to it. And then we added the hair growth ingredient to it. And that took it to a whole nother level. So,
oh, that's really good to know. So for people who don't know, I'm kind of on my own journey with the multivitamin plus hair growth. And I think I'm about 2.5 weeks in, or perhaps even more, because I've broken it up a little bit. Because when I travel, I don't take it. And I don't know, it's just life.
We're coming out with the travel version too, so people can take it. Yeah, that's
what I was just wondering, because I even found a little travel size thing to take it, but then I forgot. I was literally sitting on my counter because that was an issue, because I travel a lot. And so but I love the taste of it. I kind of look forward to it.
Peach mango. We did taste tests, hundreds of taste tests, and we finally came out with this delicious peach mango flavor. And the liposomal format has the same thing, and it's like a dessert.
Do you take it yourself?
So even though the science has been on women, there are no trials yet on men, but it's coming out. I take it because I just know that it's going to work for me, and I've been taking it, and I've seen a big difference. We don't market it because we're not marketing this product to men quite yet, but I take it as a man, and I've seen the difference. I've had even parts, even for my even facial hair, it's helping. Like my skin, if I showed you what I look like even years ago, because I've been taking it for almost like 9 months now. And I used to take another brand before, but I switched to this, and I've seen the difference every which way. And it's very simple. It's like the only thing I take in the morning, and that's it.
That's amazing. Yeah. I think that's something that people really want. They wanted to simplify their regimen a little bit.
Not have to take 20 things anymore.
It's really difficult to do all the juices, all the pills, capsules, like you said. You could literally be taking hundreds. And I always tell people, if you're taking hundreds of supplements a day, you're doing something wrong. That is not a health strategy. That means that you don't have your basics, your food, your exercise, your sleep, your stress management, your social connections. Like something's wrong there if you need that many to actually feel good.
I couldn't agree with you more.
So what's next on the horizon? You're doing these clinical trials with the hair growth plus multivitamin, which, like I said, I'm on my own journey. I kind of,
Your hair looks incredible, by the way.
Well, I think that...
the results come in as early as 4 weeks.
I
mean,
know.
You're in your third week.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I honestly will say I'm loving it. And I'm going to show my journey from beginning to end. Beautiful. So people can kind of see the real... untouched, unfiltered version of it, because I do think that has to come through for people to feel like they want to try it themselves. Like you could tell them all the trials, you can show them all the work, but it's also, what about your friend? Like your friend who took it, your friend who's a doctor who took it. So what's next?
What's next? So we're listening to what our audience wants. We're listening to what they need, and we're thinking about expanding the kind of the beauty from within line to focus more on skin health. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot that people are looking for. There's a lot of topical solutions, but how do we go from deep within? We have different probiotic strains that are kind of revolutionary that we're working on and patented. Whole Foods came to us and said, can you create kind of the future version of probiotics? And we created 6 probiotics for them in women's health. And they have more clinical trials than any other probiotic they have. They have more studies done, more benefits. And we found a way to kind of bring that price point down lower than probably the leading probiotic on the market. It has quickly become one of the best-selling probiotics in all of Whole Foods nationwide as well. And interestingly enough, based on what you said, these probiotic strains, I have to kind of look into the research a little bit more because my R&D team was sharing it with me, but they come from like these indigenous strains of a population of people that have not been exposed to a lot of these toxins and chemicals and pesticides that we experience in our world today. And so these are very unique strains that are causing incredibly efficacious results and people's mood and happiness to be different. And so this has been a recent product launch, and it's quickly become some of our best-selling probiotics as well. So we're looking more into products like that.
Yeah, that gut-brain connection is just so powerful. That's something to tap in for sure. So now a couple questions about you, if you don't mind sharing your own personal health routine. So what is it that you, what kind of diet do you eat?
So I do my blood work every quarter. I eat a high protein diet. I've stayed away from, it's interesting because I eat a lot of protein. I eat a lot of protein. And when I got my blood work done, my cholesterol was super low. And I asked my doctor, it was low. Oh, I'm sorry. So, it was, I don't know. No, my cholesterol was super balanced.
Yeah.
However, he explained it to me, and you're going to know this better. But I said, I'm eating so much protein. Like, you would think this is going to cause everything to be wonky. And I heard people who eat a lot of protein, they get gout and all of these different things. He said, and maybe you can share more color on it. He told me, he's like, look, protein by itself is not the issue. It's when it's combined with sugar and fruits and all these different things combined together in an abundance and you overeat. That's when kind of the health kind of gets out of whack. And I found that to be so fascinating because even my glucose, everything was rock bottom. Since I've been more on a cleaner, high protein diet, exercising every day. I love to swim. I'm doing the infrared sauna all the time. I'm doing NAD shots regularly. I do it on myself. I just feel like it's probably just an easier way to do it than have to go to the clinic. And my supplement routine is I take the hair growth multivitamin every morning. I take the Gray Guard. We have a supplement that is taking herbs, vitamins, minerals from all around the world that have anecdotally shown in people's communities to help keep your natural color. And we're running clinical trials on that product as well. So I take a little bit of the Gray Guard liposomal every morning. And then I take one of our probiotics that I just told you about, the capsule probiotic, 50 billion CFU for gut health. And then at night, I'm taking our most popular sleep supplement, which is the multi-mineral nighttime liquid. It tastes like a pina colada.
I just tried that.
You tried that one?
Totally.
It is
so good.
It is so
I just
good.
tried it last night. That was the first time I've ever had it.
It has been one of the most popular products we have. It helps with sleep. It helps.
Is that one safe for kids?
That our kids take it.
Okay.
So our kids take like a smaller dose, smaller than an adult dose. It says on the packaging.
I saw that.
The kids love it. It has been one of our first products we ever had, and it's been our number one sleep product.
Amazing.
Yeah, non-melatonin too.
I saw that it's non-melatonin, which is great for parents. Yeah. How many grams of protein?
I try to fit, I think it's about 40 grams per meal.
Okay.
I think, is that the right amount?
40 grams per meal for 3 meals? That's not a lot. That's like 120.
I think I'm doing about 5 meals a day.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
So then you're doing like 200 grams of protein, pretty much. So. Are you about, how many pounds are you?
165.
Okay. So you're doing a high protein diet. Yes. Are you trying to build muscle?
I am trying to stay in that perfect zone of being lean cut.
Yeah.
I'm 40, so I want to just be my optimal health and energy. And I'm spending about 45 minutes a day weightlifting about 6 days a week.
Okay.
And I'm doing my cardio is swimming. So I'm swimming about 3 times a week in cold water.
So, and who makes your food? Like, who are you? I'm sure you guys have someone who prepares your food, or how do you decide what to eat?
One of the things that we really invested in is someone who could help. Like, we have about 20 to 30 different meals ahead of time that MaryRuth has kind of prepared.
Yeah.
And so we have someone who helps all day long with the children, with our crazy busy lives, to have food prepared. Because one thing I realized, the company that we had before this was called $1 Million Lunchbox. And the theme was, if you want to be a millionaire, if you want to be successful in life, you got to carry a lunchbox everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have the right food with you, especially when you're traveling, you will end up eating something you shouldn't eat.
Yes. Which is why I'm fasting till now.
Right? and that's the thing, because you don't know where you're going to be. You're in the airport, you're in a city that doesn't have the types of food that you need. So everywhere I go, I have a lunchbox prepared for me. And it looks silly. I look ridiculous. I walk into these like high-powered business meetings sometimes, and I put my like sometimes it's a lunchbox of my kids, and I just put it on the table, and people are looking at me like, what are you doing? I said, look, if I'm going to perform at my optimal best, I need to have the right foods with me everywhere I go. Even last night, I went to a basketball game, and I came with a lunchbox, and the woman in security is like, we can't let any food in. I said, I'm sorry, like, you have to let me bring this food. It's the only food I can eat, and I'm not going to eat like whatever the stadium food is. I can't do that.
Yeah.
So she's like, all right, fine. She let me in.
I love that.
Yeah.
I carry this humongous lunch bag to the office when I see patients, and everybody always makes fun of me. They're like, you're such a small person carrying this huge, like as if you're eating all this food. I'm like, it's because there's like water bottles in there, there's drinks, there's like like big stuff. Yes. And I learned that very quickly, because what happened to me is it would be around 3:00 and I wouldn't have had a good lunch, and I would go into the back room and there was all these snacks there all the time, and I'd end up eating something that really didn't make me feel good. And then I'd always think to myself, like, why did I do that? But you can't use willpower at that point. You have to be prepared.
Especially when you're operating at this pace.
Yes.
It's really difficult. The other things I forgot to mention is I'm only doing black coffee.
Okay.
I'm meditating about 45 minutes to an hour every morning, and then 3 other 15-minute meditation and prayer blocks throughout the day. I try to keep 20 to 30% of my schedule always free to walk. And for hours a day, I'm walking, and I'm just talking out loud to the universe, asking for ideas, asking for wisdom, asking for certainty, asking for meeting the right people, asking the universe vibrationally to keep me away from people that aren't right for my soul. I've seen if my schedule is full, this is when I'm most unproductive.
Oh my God, that's so well said, because I feel the same way. And I think most people are probably in that situation, but they think they have to fill their schedule to be
successful and productive. Yeah, I've seen the inverse. I've seen that if I'm only working 70% of the time and I keep 30% free, that is when I'm now drawing in the real big next level realities, and I'm creating space. Because here's the thing. If you're busy all the time, subconsciously, the signal you're telling out to the universe is, do not bring my next level to me because I'm already busy. My employees, if they're busy all the time, then subconsciously they don't want the next big idea. They don't want to come with the next big product. Like if I come to them and say, here's a revolutionary product we should create. If my team is busy, they're going to subconsciously hope that this product fails because they don't want more work. And we are the same way. If we're busy, subconsciously, we don't want a soulmate. Subconsciously, we don't want things that we say we want. We are going to sabotage or energetically tell the creator, the universe, hey, don't send me more just because I can't handle it right now.
I love that. Would you say like 20 to 30% of your time? Is that like, so would that be a couple hours? 2 hours,
2 hours a day. I'll be driving, nothing will be on, and I'll just talk out loud to the universe. Or I like to walk around my block.
I'm the crazy person who walks around my neighborhood too, because I'm like, if I'm on a call or even if I'm not on a call, I want to be outdoors as much as possible. And I feel like I think better if I'm moving and feel more clear when I'm not trying to like if I'm sitting at a desk and trying to multitask, like doesn't work very well for me. I don't get good ideas that way.
Yes.
But I also feel like exercising for me, in the right way is also very, is when I get good ideas. Not the one where I'm like hooked into my headphones and doing my weights, but like when I'm actually doing something like a hike or a walk where I'm not, concentrating on that.
Beautiful.
Workout.
A few more secrets for you. One thing I do is every month I try to look at whatever I'm doing that is taking me, let's say, 1 hour to do. I ask myself, how can I reduce it to half an hour or 15 minutes? So my goal is always to reduce time and be able, whether that's through delegation, optimizing tasks, or finding ways that the same outcome can occur in half the time or quarter of the time, is then what frees up more time to be able to expand. So I'm always auditing myself every month and asking myself, what's taking me a lot of time? The thing I'm working on now is, how do I completely get email out of my life? Like, email is such a time suck.
Such a time suck.
And I've found ways to kind of optimize my inbox through AI where only the emails that I absolutely need to read will come to me, and the rest will go to another inbox that maybe I'll look at once a week.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I'm going to work even with my assistant to find ways that I don't even have to look at email. If I could get to a place I don't have to look at my phone, I know I would reach such a creative level. I'm not there yet, but I'm looking forward towards something like that.
That's the hard part. I think, when we're trying to do all these things when we want to have these creative thoughts, we want to grow in our business and ourselves, our spiritual selves, it's a whole different, it's like a shift away from the daily to-dos and busyness of life. And like you said, if you don't schedule that time in, or if you don't allow that, then you're going to end up never really having that time. I have so many friends, people I work with, my colleagues, especially doctors, that really don't ever give themselves time to be spiritual, to have creative thoughts, to make space in their life for something new, because they think they're either not allowed to, or they're not, they're too busy. And so that concept is just so important for people to understand.
100%.
What about your exercise? Tell me, you said you do swimming, you do weight training, and then walking. Is that right?
Swimming, weight training, walking. I haven't talked about it a lot yet because one of my friends, his name is Spence. He's a world-renowned trainer. He's a musician. He's very, very talented, and he's come up with an exercise routine via an app. It's not out to the public yet. He just showed it to me. It has completely changed the game of how I work out. What used to take me an hour, I do now in 15 minutes. And it's a mix of music-backed movements that I'm using less weight, but achieving a higher output of muscle. And it's all science-backed. It's kind of in a beta test now. I'm even thinking about investing in what he's doing. So I've been on this workout routine for about 3 weeks. I'm seeing more definition, more tone, more muscle with half. I would say probably my workouts are taking about 60% of the time that it used to. And I'm 3 to 4 weeks in, and it has been phenomenal. So I haven't talked about it yet much because the app's not available to the public, but it's something that I'm looking into because I'm all about how do you achieve the same result.
Yeah.
Like I said,
so it's weights, but it's in different ways.
Movements, it's a science-backed approach of how to basically exhaust the muscle or define the muscle in a way that is taking less time and less weight, but kind of more movement. And the music is what's guiding it. What's even more fascinating is the trainers are people who are very well known all around the world, but maybe not necessarily as trainers, but they're doing the workout routine. And part of the marketing approach will be to kind of bring it out to their audiences because they're the ones that are doing the workout. So it's really cool.
That's really cool. Well, I can't wait to hear more about that. Yeah. Thank you so much, first of all. Anything else that you wanted to say about MaryRuth, about Cabala, about your personal platforms, anything at all. And then we'll, of course, put every link and all the places that people can buy your course. Because now I feel like now that I've gotten kind of knee deep into this, I definitely want to learn more. So tell people how we can learn more about that. And we'll put all the links in there.
I appreciate that. What I'll tell everybody who's listening is my desire to bring Kabbalah to the world is something that I'm doing 100% for charity. I do not monetize my platform at all. And if you go to my Instagram, you'll see like kind of the bite-sized pieces of content that I've pulled from these courses. But what everyone in the world who follows me, the way they learn this wisdom is a masterclass I've created. It's called Kabbalah1.com, and it's a professionally recorded version of a live class I gave in Los Angeles that covers all the spiritual laws of relationships, health and healing, life's purpose, abundance, prosperity. And I made it in a format that it's all donation-based. People can pay whatever they want to afford, whatever they can afford, even if it's $1, just to make it affordable for the world. And that has been the thing that everyone's been studying and learning. So that would be my number one suggestion. By the third session, I've seen people's lives completely change.
Is it Kabbalah 1 like the...
O-N-E.
O-N-E. Okay, yeah, that's right.
KABBALAHONE.com.
I think that's something that everyone should check out.
Everyone. Any religion, any background, any spirituality, it will be a life-changing course for them.
Oh my God, I can't wait. I'm gonna be doing it. So check it out. You should be doing it too. And then where can people find you?
Find me. I'm most active on my Instagram, which is just, my handle is David Ghiyam. And I have a website, davidghiyam.com, that has my most popular courses if people want deeper, more advanced content.
And then how do people find out more about your MaryRuth side?
The MaryRuths. So we're Amazon's largest vitamin brand. So we're always on Amazon. We are one of the biggest brands in Whole Foods. You'll always find us there. We're in Sprouts. We're in Walmart. We're in Target. And, of course, our website. So we're all over the nation. And now we're expanding all over the world. So we're on iHerb. We just did a partnership with iHerb where we have all 200 products available in 180 countries. And I'm sure you have people from all around the world listening to you. So if they're interested, they just go to iHerb.com and everything.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I mean, I've enjoyed this because I've learned so much, not only from the Kabbalah wisdom, but from how you put it into practice in your life and in the business. And also it was fun learning about MaryRuth Organics and your personal routine. So thank you so much for being here.
Me.
Guys, check him out at davidghiyam.com or his Instagram, and then Kabbalah1.com.
Yes.
So thanks again, everyone. See you next time.